Okay, so you don't believe that Donald Trump is a child molester or a rapist of women. Let's presume that close to 30 women did not accuse him of sexual assault. Let's presume that he didn't lose 3 cases against E. Jean Carroll for sexually assaulting her. Let's presume that Ivanka Trump did not testify in court and was granted divorce, in part because Donald Trump violently raped her. Let's presume that Donald Trump is not named over 38,000 times in the Epstein files, or that 2 credible witnesses or victims came forward alleging that Donald Trump raped them when they were 13 and 14 years of age during the 80s and 90s. Let's presume that he didn't admit to someone, locker room talk, that he just grabs women by the pussy because he can. He's rich and he could just do that. Let's just take into account the Epstein cabinet he surrounded himself with during his first term and his second term, and see if you do not come to the rational conclusion that actually, even if you didn't know what I just mentioned, that it sounds like maybe he is a rapist. Honey, and I believe that Trump and the Epstein class elites, they will do anything, including bombing little girls in Iran and starting chaos around the world in order to keep their power. And we've allowed that. I mean, look at MAGA. MAGA now supports the bombing of Iran. MAGA is still like, show me the proof that he's a rapist. Well, let's just look at his cabinet right now. See what you think. Now, let's start with Bill Barr, who Trump called a lethargic, gutless pig. Okay, so this fat Teletubby was the last DOJ of Trump's first presidency that was in charge of the Jeffrey Epstein death, the very mysterious death. He found that there was absolutely nothing to see here. It was just a fluke series of mistakes that caused his death. In addition to that, he also said that there was no client list and that there was absolutely no association between Jeffrey and Trump. Interestingly enough, Bill Barr was the son of Donald Barr, who first hired Jeffrey Epstein at the Dalton School without any kind of teaching experience. What is crazier is that Donald Barr actually wrote this sci-fi book that involved saving the planet by having an alien have sex with a teenage girl. Nothing to see here. Alex Acosta. Instead of actually federally indicting Jeffrey Epstein when he was accused by close to 100 girls of being trafficked or sexually assaulted by him, he gave him a sweetheart deal and only a 13-month jail time with work release, which meant that Epstein was able to go home and continue raping girls during this time. For his hard work and being a good boy, he was appointed Secretary of Labor by Donald Trump. Ken Starr, remember him? In 1999, Ken Starr was the lead special counsel investigating Bill Clinton for the Monica Lewinsky scandal that inevitably got him impeached. But in 2008, he was a key negotiator that got Epstein the sweetheart deal, so he could continue raping girls while he's in jail. Fast forward a few years later, Ken Starr pivoted to defending Trump during his impeachment trial because they're all friends. Another one of Epstein and Trump's loyal amigo was Alan Dershowitz. This nasty old man was also accused of raping Virginia Giuffre and was part of the team that got Jeffrey Epstein the sweetheart deal. Fast forward to the future, he joined Ken Starr to defend Donald Trump during his impeachment trial. You see how we're all connected? Women such as this snake and the puppy killer evoke even more rage. The betrayal is just unparalleled. In 2013, Pam Bondi, who was Florida state attorney, refused to pursue an investigation against the Trump University, who had defrauded thousands of students. Instead, she took in illegally $25,000 donation towards her campaign. Throughout her tenure as attorney for Florida State, she refused to pursue an investigation about the sweetheart deal, despite there being dozens and dozens of attorneys and victims complaining about its illegality. Many of Trump's and Epstein's loyal friends, she went on to be a part of Trump's defense team for the impeachment. For her loyalty to Trump and to Epstein, she was appointed by Trump to head the Department of Justice. Since then, she has helped decrease our faith in our government and in humanity. This disgusting bucket of lard, Steve Bannon, political strategist for Donald Trump, actually went to prison for him in order to not testify against him. Another BFF, Jeffrey Epstein, who actually worked on a documentary to try and rehabilitate for his sex crimes. Moreover, and more shocking were the conversations between Bannon and Epstein, how to take down Pope Francis, how to influence and strengthen white nationalism here and in Europe, political strategies for Trump in order to successfully manipulate the American people into continuing the support of the raping Epstein class elite. Who purchased Zorro Ranch? That would be billionaire real estate mogul Dan Huffins. His son, Russell Huffins, was appointed Associate Director of Outreach in the White House Office of Cabinet Affairs. That's weird. I believe that billionaire Huffins may have been able to cover up a lot of Epstein's crimes because the Trump administration stopped the Zorro Ranch investigation. Based on witness reports, there were unmarked graves of girls that were killed during fetish sex. There was witnesses alleged that cabins on the property were also used intentionally to infect rape victims with STDs, which were then used as blackmails to prevent them from coming forward. It was used also as a baby-making factory, whereby Epstein believed in eugenics and he wanted to seed the human race with his DNA. There was also suspicious infrastructure, a barn that was believed to be covering up an incinerator. Disturbingly, emails also use heavily coded words that make us believe that there were satanic rituals on babies. And what's more disturbing is a replica painting that Jeffrey Epstein commissioned for Zorro Ranch that was called The Massacre of the Innocents. Talk about the Black family. Benjamin Black is an investor who was nominated by President Donald Trump to lead the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation. Why was Benji appointed? Well, he's the son of Leon Black, this fat fuck billionaire, prior CEO and co-founder of Apollo Global Management. He's facing multiple lawsuits from women who claim that he violently raped them when they were young. And I believe them because he paid off Epstein over $100 million over the years for services rendered. Howard Nutlicks, United States Secretary of Commerce, also known as billionaire extraordinaire and friends of Epstein and Trump. At one point, he denied ever even having a relationship with Epstein. Now, we find out that he not only had a financial relationship with him, philanthropic relationship, he even visited the island. But check out how much he laughs because he knows that rich people like him could get away with it.
Fake news want to keep something like that going, but credible information.
Appointed number 2 at the Pentagon, right below Hegseth, who's a lying cheater and accused sex offender as well, is Steven Feinberg, who's a billionaire and good friends with Epstein's, dealt with him with Deutsche Bank, and had real estate ventures. Billionaire investor appointed by Trump to be Secretary of the Navy for whatever God knows reason, was also chummy with Epstein, I guess. RFK, a known cheater, also been accused of sexually assaulting his babysitter, and a liar. He admitted to hanging out with Ghislaine and Epstein. He said he went fossil hunting, but now I don't believe him. Check this out.
These are the darkest emails that I found, and they are very, very scary and depressing and suspicious. Jeffrey to a man named Mortimer Zuckerman. How is the girl hunting? Then redacted to redacted. Surprise, surprise. Jilligan, I didn't get your email. Did you talk to Jane? Is everything okay? Can we talk about the treasure hunt for girls on the island? We will be there on January 4th. Give me your private phone number. Do you miss me yet? Love, love. This is the worst one. The subject is snipe hunt is over, moon crickets and field bag. And the contents that are in the email read, guess what? Their N-word.
Oh.
Yeah.
In the woods, I was then hunted by George Bush, Dick Cheney, and Bill Clinton.
Wow.
I really don't understand it, except for the fact that they found great pleasure in this form of human hunting.
Tunnel system or something underground where they hold the kids in cages until the time of the hunt. And the hunt usually happens later, once it's dark outside. They'll kind of make a perimeter, which is pretty large, of these woods, and they'll station the different elite people around the perimeter. And then when they give the go, they release the kids, and the kids are told just to run, to hide. And that's when the elite will go through the woods and start hunting for them.
I've never been so disturbed in my life. I'm angry. But You still don't believe that Trump is part of the Epstein class? Check it out.
This is why he called me a traitor. He called me a traitor because I would not take my name off the discharge petition, because I stood firmly and said, no, we're going to release the Epstein files. I'm standing with women who were as teenagers. I'm not standing with the government. I don't support the cover up of all of this stuff, whatever it may be. And the president got mad at me, and he told me, and I've said this multiple times, he told me his friends would get hurt.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
If you're innocent, why are you taking the Fifth Amendment?
Fifth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, Fifth Amendment. Horrible. Horrible.
When you have your staff taking the Fifth Amendment so they're not prosecuted, I think it's disgraceful.